What's up, y'all? Tonight, as you know, is Florida versus UCF, but right now I'm gonna dive into something different. I saw this article about a week ago, but for some reason I'm seeing it just now. And I saw where Dana White considered that Fedor is never a top five heavyweight. He thinks Randy Couture would have beat Fedor. Look, and this I usually talk a lot of trash on this channel, but this is not a trash talking video. This is a realist video, okay? Let's look at Randy Couture. Randy Couture in his prime, uh, two-time, really three, the interim title counts too. Three light heavyweight world titles in the UFC, three undisputed heavyweight titles, one-time tournament champion. He was a seven-time UFC world champion. He beat the likes of Belfort, Ortiz, beat Belfort twice, beat Chuck Liddell. He beat world champions like Maurice Smith, Kevin Randall, who's dead. He's beaten a lot of the best guys. Mark Coleman, everybody. Tim Sylvia, I don't need to go any further, but he's done it all. And he was usually the underdog in his fights, and he found a way to win majority of those fights. UFC Hall of Famer, clearly one of the greatest of all time. As far as fighting Fedor goes, look, Randy Couture has a chance against everybody just because of how he fights. He's a great wrestler. He can stand with the best guys, even though he might not beat everybody on the feet. He's very tough, very durable, always in very good condition in his best fights. And even when he was 40, 41, he was winning the light heavyweight title against a 20-something-year-old Tito Ortiz who hadn't lost a fight in almost 5 years. So, excuse me, I'm not sick anymore. Of course, he has a chance against anybody in his prime, including against Fedor. Now let's look at Fedor. Fedor, the Pride heavyweight champ, the second and final. He beat Nogueira. Oh yeah, Randy beat him too, but Fedor's fights with Nogueira were never that close. He dominated Minotauro. Minotauro was known for submitting guys 60, 70 pounds heavier than him, being unbeaten in Pride, choking people out, killing everybody. And nobody could beat him. And Fedor comes out of nowhere. He was the Rings tournament champion. He had one controversial loss to a guy that he later on beat in Pride. It's Yoshiko Saka. He killed everybody in Pride, including Nogueira. He basically, he didn't, I wouldn't say he ended his career, but he kept him from being the top guy ever again. As we all know, Nogueira went to the UFC and he became interim champion, but he can never beat Frank Mir. So, yeah. Like another guy. Speaking of who he's beaten, let's see. Fedor's beaten Nogueira twice. Mark Hunt. He beat Frank Mir, Arlovsky, Sylvia, all the top guys in his generation, except fighting Randy Couture. Now let's talk about a fight between these two. I just don't see. Look, I mean, Randy's a good wrestler, but Fedor is a different level kind of grappler compared to him. As good as Randy was wrestling, I think Fedor was just that much better. He actually finished people when he grabbed him. He didn't just take you to distance and dominate the fight or win a very close decision. His fights were and still are very decisive. This guy is 44 years old and still knocking out guys that are 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", you name it, way bigger and taller and younger than him. Ask Tim Johnson, who I picked against Fedor. And that was a stupid decision. So, it's just, the way Fedor beats people. Let's not even talk about on the feet. Fedor is a killer on the feet. Randy Couture has no business standing on the feet with him. So for Dana White to say that Fedor was never a top five guy, he wasn't. He was the top guy, as he beat all your top guys at one point. Whether at heavyweight or even in another weight division, like Matt Lindland, he was a top guy. He wasn't the champion, but he fought for a title. He was a medalist. He did all these things. He beat Pedro Hizo. He killed people in the UFC, and he beat him in under 2 minutes or whatever. Made it look easy. So I don't know what Dana White's talking about. I just think he's mad because Fedor never signed with the UFC. I might make a conspiracy video about that too. But as far as a fight goes, I love Randy Couture to death. He's one of my favorites. But I love an underdog. But this is the GOAT. This is the last emperor. Fedor would have crushed him inside of a round. I think he would have punched Randy Couture a few times in the face, dropped him, put him on the ground, and would have put him in a Kimura or some kind of rear naked choke, something like that. He would have ended it in about 2 minutes. It wouldn't have been much of a challenge for Fedor because Fedor killed everybody. Randy Couture fought and beat a lot of the best, but he had a harder time doing it than Fedor did. Fedor made it look pretty easy, especially in his prime. As he went unbeaten for, they say 10 years, the DQ, the TKO loss, that was kind of a fluke as he beat that same guy later in Pride. He really didn't lose a fight from when he started fighting, which was 2000 all the way up till 2000. No. 1997, 98. So really about 12, 13 years being unbeaten. So Fedor would have murdered Randy Couture. Probably pretty easily. Not because Randy sucks, he's great, but Fedor is just a whole nother animal. And it's a shame he never went to the UFC.